Hello, welcome to my epic tutorial for making a singular OC, or perhaps even more than one OC. Um, the main point of this tutorial is to help teach you how to make characters in a more constructive way, but it will also focus on things like shading and color theory because I'm going to be going through start to finish making a character. Uh, so I guess step one would be looking for inspiration for your awesome character. This could be Instagram or Pinterest or any sort of social media site. It can be a mood board or aesthetic board. It can be just an image that you really liked, or it can be maybe even inspired by another character that you enjoyed. So, for me, I personally like looking into crystals and basing characters off of crystals, but today I want to do something a little different. So I'm going to go and, I don't know, I guess look into different types of mushrooms. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a mushroom today. I'm just looking up cool mushroom into Google. I'm not. Wait, can you see that? Okay, it looks like you cannot see that. So I'm going to go to display capture. And can you see that? You can now see that. Okay. And as you can see, we have picture upon picture of cool mushrooms to look at. I personally like. I want to find the coolest mushroom to look at. Oh my god, there's so many cool mushrooms. Okay, but I should probably pick one. Um. Huh. I like the shape of this little guy. So, let's see if I can find what species this is. Okay, so we're gonna look at the Wikipedia page for this mushroom now. Okay, so it's an entire genus of mushrooms. Huh. Okay, well now that we have... Okay, wait, let me... Myriostoma. Okay. So now we're gonna look at Myriostoma mushrooms. For references. For our silly little creature. And I think I like this one. Yeah, I think this is the one I'm going to use as the reference. So I'm just going to copy the image. And then I'm going to go back to Krita here. And then I'm going to paste as reference image. And now we have a beautiful reference for our OC that we are making together. I think I'm also going to expand the canvas a bit. I started it off at 1920 by 1080, but you can totally change the size of the canvas to be different. Woo. Okay. So I think with this, they're called Earth stars from what it looks like. So I think including like a sort of star theme with the character, and like I'm kind of thinking like maybe a wizard type, like this sort of like the silly clip art of wizards that have like the stars on their robes and stuff. I'm thinking something like that. Um, so I'm just starting off by blocking out the shapes of what I want. Um, Usually with the first pass with a character, I don't really pay attention to proportions that much. But, just basic things to sort of block out the character. I may go over anatomy in a different video, it's just I have a very unique way of approaching anatomy, I feel. And I am not sure how to properly give advice on it quite yet. So I feel like with the legs, we're gonna give them silly little monster legs. We're gonna do that. We're gonna give them the silliest little monster legs. I'm gonna shrink this down a little bit actually. Whack. There it goes. Let's see here. And I feel like I did those legs wrong. I'm gonna start over with the legs. A lot of creating a character is just drawing and erasing, I'm going to be fully honest with you. I can like make 10 different designs and then erase them because I don't like any of them. Yes. Let's see here. Let's go back to this brush. And usually with little monster legs, I like to like have them be more curved or bow-legged to show like the sort of digitigradeness of them. And I think for the little feet, I'm gonna give them hooves. Little cloven hooves. Because this is our silly little mushroom creature and it gets to have whatever feet it wants. Alright, that foot is bigger than the other one. There we are. That's a little bit better. Now for the arms. I think, I gotta center this guy into the middle of the canvas. I think for the arms, they're gonna be like sleeved, sort of. Yeah. And this is just the basic sketch. I'll go over it with another sketch to like fully flesh out details before we go into coloring. And you know what? I think... Actually, I don't think I like the sort of... This can go. And I think I'll have the head be more like the mushroom. So let's see here. 3, 5, 8. Okay, so there's like 8 little start points. So I'm just going to start by figuring out how to do that. maybe we'll simplify it and just have it be 6. This little creature's turning out to look pretty cool so far. And we'll worry about symmetry later. And I think I'm also going to do the little stars. Little, yeah, strands. At the end here. Something like that, maybe? And then also here as well. And then I think I'm going to give them little hands. You know, little grippers for grabbing. And I'm thinking, since in this photo there's like this little thing right here, I'm going to turn that into a singular eye. So we're just gonna draw like a little eye here. And I think I'm just gonna give it a little round pupil. Our funny little creature. And now for the second sketch. That's right, there's more than one. And to save us on time, I'm going to use this, scoot it over to the middle, that way everything will be symmetrical on both sides. So I'm just sort of tracing over very loosely, but also making sure that everything lines up and looks okay. And I can turn down the opacity on the layer even more to make this layer more visible, to make it easier. That looks about right. Yeah. I think I'm gonna give it eyelashes. So that way it can be fabulous. And I also think I'm gonna give it like shoulder padding to add to the silhouette. I'll explain what a silhouette is in like a moment here. I just want to get this out of the way first. Okay, that should be more like that, and I guess this one can be like that, and that. Yeah, there we go. Little cloven hooves for fun. And also, now we don't need that symmetry tool anymore, and we can just go in and do the individual arms. Little fingers. I should maybe make a video just for hands, because I know hands are difficult for some people. There we go. And now that we have the basic sketch for our little creature, we are going to color it in. Or at least we're going to make the colors for it to color it in with. Oopsie. Didn't mean to do that. I just meant to expand the size a little bit so that way it'd fit better. And now what we're going to do is we're going to make the background like neutral-ish gray. So that way when we color things, our eyes are not seared or blinded, and we can see how it would look in a more naturalistic environment than just plain white. Because the coloring of your environment around the character will heavily influence how the colors on the character itself are perceived. So I think I'm going to color pick from this mushroom specifically for like the head and stuff. So it's a very light gray. Let's see here. My drawing tablet's glitching out. It does that sometimes. And then for the other colors, since this is like a bluish gray, I think I'll stay around the blue area to enhance its blueness. I think that shade of blue looks nice. Yes, it's a very lovely shade of blue. And then for the eye, we are going to go to the exact opposite side of the color wheel and make it this yellowy orange goldy color. And I think I'm going to lighten that up as well, but not as light as that gray. And yeah, I guess this is a bit lighter than that gray. That'll work out just fine though. But basically using complementary colors allows for certain parts of the design to stick out. And generally speaking, this isn't how it always has to go, but if your character has eyes on its face, or like an area on its body you want the eyes of the person viewing the character to look at, generally making that part of the body a certain value will help. Like, say, if I made this entire body dark, then making the eye light would draw attention to the eye. But if I made the entire body light, I'd want to make the eye darker in order to draw attention to it. So that's basically what I'm doing here. Because this is like lighter than these other two colors and it stands out more. So now I'm going to teach you my sister secret method. Oh gosh, I accidentally did that on the wrong layer. Okay. For coloring and shading. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this character's silhouette with a dark color, and I'm going to choose purple because purple is one of the darkest colors as far as values go. And it's not going to be completely black because I still want the purple to shine through. And now I'm just going to, on another layer, I'm going to gently trace over the silhouette of this character. If I can just, I'm going to switch to a different brush. I'm going to use the paintbrush that I use for like painting in details. This gives it texture. Delicious, delicious texture. It takes a bit longer, but like, I think it looks nicer in my own personal opinion. also probably not gonna like edit or speed up the video in any way, shape, or form, because I want people to understand like how long it takes to do this, and how like it's not just you automatically have the best OC in the world, because it takes time to develop characters. And you can already see, like with the outline here, I'm just going to turn off this layer for a second. You can already see what the silhouette's probably going to look like. And it has a lot of sharp edges in it, which I think gives it a very powerful and distinct aura. And now that we have the outlined silhouette traced, what you're going to do is take the selection tool and select the inside here. Then you're going to go to select and you're going to grow that selection to about 10. Actually, I think I need to shrink that just by 2, I think. Yeah, that looks better. And you're just going to take a regular old brush and fill it. And then Control-Shift-A. And there you go. That is the silhouette of your character so far. And once again, my drawing tablet is glitching. Yeah. Just fill in a little bit of the spaces where you can tell where it was filled in to make it look more natural. I think that's pretty okay, if I do say so myself. And now we're going to get to coloring and shading, which are kind of both going to be the same thing. With the way I do coloring and shading, I'm just going to select these really quick and get them off of that layer. Edit, copy, edit, paste. And now that they're off that layer, I can erase it. too big. There we go. And then have it on the proper layer. And now I'm going to lower the opacity on here. That looks about good. And I'm going to decide which direction the light is going to come from. And I'm thinking, just so that way you can follow along with me, I'm going to outline where the light is going to be coming from. Okay, imagine the sun is here. Imagine like the sun is up there and it's hitting maybe a little higher, like up here. So it's like hitting from this direction onto the character. And with that in mind, we are going to start coloring this little guy in. I'm going to start off with the head here. We're just going to slowly make our way through the body, but since I did a simple design, it shouldn't take too terribly long if I can... Yeah. We're also going to lock the layer so that way the paintbrushes don't do any rogue strokes and it's like still within the character silhouette like this. And we're just going to start locking in the color from the light source. Just going in and layering it all. The places that are further away from the light source will be darker, while the places coming towards the light source will be lighter. Sort of like that. And we're not going to worry about the eye in the middle of the face yet. We'll do that after we block in and shade the colors of the face before doing the eye, just to make it easier on ourselves. So I'm thinking that should be good. And now you're going to take a blender brush and you're going to just move it up to the right size. It really depends. Usually I like to start with something that's a little smallish or a little bigger and then go small. And you're just going to start blending your colors until you have something you're satisfied with. Just gently blending everything in together. And making sure everything still lines up with the silhouette. And every once in a while you can just turn off the layer underneath to check it and make sure that the shading looks okay. And then go in and do like the finer details to make sure everything blends together properly. And now we're going to do the eye. So we're going to take that dark purple color that we used and we are going to put it back in. Also, one thing I should mention is that this is all just my own subjective taste, and that if you do something completely different, you are also, like, incredibly valid. Because I know with a lot of these tutorial videos, people can kind of be like, this is the right way, and if you do it this way, you're wrong, and that's just not my style. Like, there's no inherently wrong way to do art. It's all subjective, and if you have, like, a special way of doing things, then you should go for it, because a lot of people have honestly called my characters and my art ugly, but I don't think it's ugly, I think it's beautiful. Because I guess I just like the more ugly things. I like the weird. We're gonna make the pupil blue, by the way. See how that stands out? See how that looks so fabulous? Yeah. That's what you want. And I'm also gonna like add in a bit more of the light there. There we go. And now we're going to color the robe. And it's going to be blue, because blue is a beautiful color. And we're gonna do it similar to how I did it with the face, by making it lighter as it gets close to the light source, and then darker as it gets further out. I'm not gonna like focus on creases and clothing too much. I'll probably make it a completely separate tutorial for that, where I actually like study fabrics and stuff, so that way you guys can like learn how to do it. But that's a bit complicated. I'm not trying to like overload anyone who's just trying to watch this to learn how to like design a character, because even though everything kind of works in tandem with each other in art, learning it one step at a time is like a lot easier to digest than learning it all at once. And just... yeah, that looks good. There we are. Very good. There we are. And I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of light over here, just to keep it from looking flat. And now we're gonna draw the hams, the grippers, the grabby grabs. There we are. I think this can like get spread to over here. just to make it look nicer. Yeah, there we go. That looks better. And now for this little handy over here. There we are. Okay, now we're just gonna add in. Okay, if it'll select the right brush. Here we are. There. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, this is just like the basic design of the character. You can totally go ham and do whatever you want with it later. And the reason I'm not coloring in the hooves right now is because I think I want to make them blue to add to the design and let the eyes travel like all throughout it. Because even though there are certain points like the face that you want people to focus on specifically, it's also good to allow for there to be enough detail that people will naturally wander down to the rest of the design eventually. So it's like a little balancing act, if you will. There we go. And now for the blue. There we are. This is our special little guy, and I'm just going to turn off that layer. Turn the opacity on this one all the way up, and do some final little details to make it just look better. Like here, in this area where it would be darkest, I think it could go a little darker. So I'm just going to gently add in more dark purple. And there we are. There's our little creature. But I'm going to teach you one last little trick before, or two little tricks actually, because I want to put in some highlights to make it pop more. So you see how we have this dark purple right here? Well, we're going to do the same thing that we did with the colors, and we're going to go to the exact opposite side of the color wheel to this greenish yellowy color. It's like a lime. And then we're going to go to a very, very bright lime color. And what we're going to do now is where the light is directly hitting the character, we're just going to add in some highlights and blend those in. I could probably do better than that. There we go. This, I feel, adds like a lot of depth to the character. So we're gonna go here, a little bit there, perhaps a little bit more here as well. And then down here. Just a little tiny bit though. And then we're gonna blend it all in. Just gently blending it in. Even if it disappears a whole ton, as long as it's still at least like barely visible, that's okay. And there. And now for the final trick. We're going to unlock the layer. We're going to copy the layer. We're going to paste the layer. And we're going to go to select, and we're going to select opaque, and we're going to just do that. And then we're going to go to map. We're going to go to gradient map. And then we're going to choose this preset here. And we're just going to modify it a little bit, make the blue a bit darker. As you can see, it's like blue, orange, and yellow, with this very dark purple here at the end. Sort of like we did. This just helps set like the mood and toning of the lighting, and it also helps look at the values that you have going on throughout the piece. Like, see how like all the parts that we made lighter are now lighter. And let's see here. I'm gonna shrink this back a little bit. Move this a little bit more forward. Gonna move this a little bit more over there. And there we go. And we're gonna go to filter, we're gonna go to blur. We're gonna go to Gaussian blur. We're just going to blur that enough so that way it looks smooth. And now we're going to put it, and now we're going to play with the layer filters until we find one that we like. And the soft light layer looks pretty okay. Yeah. Let's deselect that. And as you can see, you now have an entire special little guy. And we're also going to just crop the image down to all that's needed. And can you believe it? Just like that, you have one whole OC. Bye-bye!